What's up, everybody? So sorry for not having a podcast on for the last 4 weeks, but today we're talking to my student, Sudario Tsuyoshi. Check it out.
1978とある田舎町で生まれて移り住んだ新宿で育ちこの町で起きたこれまでの俺たちのここまでの生い立ちはほんのまた序の口試されたいちいち正してきた過ち騙し合いやからしないはスニッチの始まり放課後の登山所児童館にホームアローンそんな時間はほったらかして向かったとある場所
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Yamatodamashii podcast. We are here in Bangkok, Thailand. My first time, your 50th, 100th time. Tsuyoshi's first time. But yeah, today we're joined by Tsuyoshi. Thank you very much for joining the podcast. There's not been that many interviews that Tsuyoshi's done with Western outlets and other MMA podcasts.
正直あんまり海外のインタビューもしてないね。
Oh, so this is So we kind of wanted to do a bit of a get to know Tsuyoshi so that maybe some of the foreign fans could understand a bit more about his journey in becoming a fighter, but also where he'd like to go in the future. The first thing I wanted to ask you was, how have you found the training? Obviously we're training at Fancis Ngannou's a very famous Muay Thai gym. How have you found the training so
こ
far?
のタイの練習どういう感じ印象
まず暑い
super hot
あとは日本であんまこう蹴りとか肘の練習ってあんまやんないじゃないですかミットでだからそれがやっぱきついですね
So there's in Japan you don't have many places that making you do so much kicks and elbows and so it's a lot the stamina for the mitts are super hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, you'll see in the training footage, it's a very hard environment with the heat coming down into the gym. And even things like the neckties, right?
Yeah.
Super hard. What do you think the biggest thing you've learned from this whole
ここの
experience?
一番選べばいい勉強になったのは何
蹴りの体の使い方とあとは首相撲ですかね
How to use your hips and your body when you're throwing a kick and the neckties これも勉強になったね
It sounds really beneficial, right?
Yeah, and I even learned, you know,
Yeah.
あれが両方取って後ろ行くのがさ楽しいの俺も見たことないけど So one of the neckties where they hold double necktie and instead of swinging to the side, they just pull them down. I didn't know that either. That was like a new one to me too. I was like, oh, I never saw that before. So yeah, even I'm learning. So it's amazing.
Yeah, lots of good sparring partners as well there, right? Lots of talent in that gym. What have you thought of Thailand overall? It's like your first time to Thailand.
練習以外のタイどういう印象
まあ何でもある意味ですね
It's like anything goes kind of thing.
特に薬局がすごいですね
Yeah, he said the pharmacist is crazy, the stuff they sell. そうです、すごいな、それ。
And like the tuk-tuks, the motorbikes.
トゥクトゥク、バイクタクシー、トゥクトゥクとか、ね。
Coconut ice cream.
Coconut ice cream, yeah, that's my go-to, coconut ice cream.
辛いですねご飯
Ah, he said the spice is different, yeah.
The spice is hot.
なんか辛さ違う辛さよ
そうですね
ね。
なんか
痛い辛さね。It's like a painful.
Painful.
Yes, yeah.
Painful the next day. So I also wanted to go a bit back in time to understand a bit more about your growing up.
ちょっと格闘技前の話しない。
はい
Did you watch MMA as a child?
子供頃ね、小学生とか中学生の時に MMA 見た。
いや MMA よりもまだキックだったらマサトの時代とかですね
The kickboxing.
マサトさんそうマサトさん
そうじゃあプライドのちょっと後で。
そうですね
So right after the pride he started watching because he's only what 26.
Yeah, it would be like yeah.
10歳ぐらい見てるプライド。
Yeah. And was it something that you aspired to do or just enjoyed watching?
キックの方がなんかちょっとやってみたいと思ったか見るだけだった。
まあ最初は見るだけだったんですけどまあ弟がキックボクシングなんかちょっと始めてたんで僕も今暇だったからそれで何回か行ったことあるぐらいです
So he said that he was watching it, but then his younger brother or his twin brother actually started doing kickboxing. So he was kind of like, oh, maybe I'll try it. So he went like a couple times, but not really. Yeah.
Okay. And everyone kind of knows that you did sumo, but were there any other sports that you did?
みんなスモもやってて分かってるけど、他のスポーツやったことある？
サッカー無理やり親にやらされたのと、あとバスケですね。
So his mom forced him to do
空手
soccer.
空手。
Oh. His mom forced him to do soccer. Basketball was one of his main sports. And he also did karate.
Oh, okay. Was your mom quite hard?
お母さん厳しかった。
お姉ちゃんが7個上にいるんですよ。そのお姉ちゃんが女子でサッカーやってたんで、それで無理やりやらされたんですね。それつまんなかったですけど。
So he had an older sister, 7 years older. And she was like one of the top soccer players. So the mother forced him to do soccer. So it was real boring though. So he didn't enjoy it.
I didn't know you had a sister.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know that.
At what point did you decide that you wanted to try sumo and kind of take it forward?
何歳くらいでスモ頑張ってみようと思って。
最初その話があったのが小学校4年の時で、嫌がってたんですけど、その高校行く勉強が嫌いだったので、あとバスケで高校行きたかったんですけど、お金かかるんで、だからもう中学校上がった時にはもう相撲界に行くって決めてましたね。
He had an offer when he was in elementary school to do sumo, but he didn't really want to do it. And he wanted to do basketball.
Oh, basketball.
But he said basketball would cost too much money to do.
Really?
Yeah. So he decided that he's gonna go into sumo.
Wow. That's surprising me. Basketball costs.
バスケお金かかる？なんでかかる？
かかります。遠征行ったり、どっか遠いところ練習行ったり、
You gotta go travel.
いろいろ
do like connects like that. So it costs a lot of money.
ユニフォーム高いし、
The uniform.
試合行くのも必ずお
Go
金
to the event, you gotta pay for the ticket, plane ticket.
So how long was he doing sumo for in total?
スモ始めてから辞めたまでどのくらいだった？
6年半だ、7年目で辞めました。
So about 6 years half. When he's going to a 7-year, he stopped sumo.
And what was the hardest thing about the sumo?
スモ一番難しかったのは
難しかった。最初、立ち合いですね。
何？
最初に一
the
発目の
first clash.
Oh, really?
それ難しい。
あれは難しかったです。
頭下がるとか肩使うとかいろいろあるよね。
そうです。圧力負けちゃいけないんで。
He said, yeah, that was the hardest part. He said, you cannot lose momentum with that. Tachiai. It's called tachiai.
And I suppose at what point did you kind of realize that you didn't want to do sumo?
なんかスモがもうやりたくない気持ちがあった。
その辞める時ですか？
そう辞める前に。
それはないですね。
He didn't ever have that. He wanted to quit sumo.
So what happened?
なんでスモダメなんだ？
なんでそうですね。僕が付き人に原告したんですよね。
So in sumo they have this where like Inoue is like a lure, and he does shit for you like that.
Yeah.
And usually if they come late or they forget something or they lose something, they get punished.
Right.
I do that in my gym when I was in the fighting gym, pro wrestling, sumo, same thing.
Yeah.
They have kohais,
Like young
and
boys.
they gotta do shit. Yeah, and if they fuck up, we slap them, beat them up. But in this day and age now, things are changing. So he did that. One of the guys came late, he slapped him. The guy's parents went to the police. And that's where it blew up. Yeah.
And that's how.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's harsh.
ひどすぎるのそれ。
Yeah. What was the biggest thing you learned from sumo?
スモはなんか勉強できたことあった？なんかスモから持っていった格闘技にとか人生にとか。
でもいろいろありますね。でもだからなんつったらいいんだ。
厳しいですよね、スモね。
はい。
練習。
もう鷹の花形が厳しかったので。
So he learned a lot of discipline because the bear he was in Takanohana, he's one of the strictest sumo singles.
Wow, so the discipline.
Discipline.
Wow. yeah, it seems. I mean, I remember hearing from our episode with Kanishiki, the discipline and the training that's involved.
小西もそう言うけどね、日米した時にそれすごいそういう礼儀とかそういうマナーとかそういう練習時間とかですごい大変だったね。
So one of the things that foreign fans are always very curious about is how you lost the weight from sumo to MMA.
海外のファンがよく聞かれちゃうのは、相撲から格闘技の体どうやってそこまで痩せてできて
どうやってまずご飯を食わないですね。
So he stopped eating.
ノーカーブで
So dropped all the carbs.
なんて言ったらいいんだろう。
大変なんですね。
朝が味噌汁とリンゴとヨーグルト
So he would eat miso soup,
だけです。
a yogurt, and an apple for the morning. That's it.
で夜が昼飯は食わないですよね。夜が鶏ももステーキ皮取ってそれ1枚とヨーグルトと、確か味噌汁だったよね。
So he skipped lunch. He didn't have any lunch, and for dinner he had like a fillet of chicken with no skin, and yogurt and miso soup.
Wow. Okay. So how does that compare to how he was eating before?
じゃあ相撲の時と比べると全然違う。
そうですね。
Yeah, they eat.
So it was like a lot. Yeah.
あと寝る前に1時間45度から48度の熱いお湯で半身浴。
So before sleeping for 40 minutes, he'll put his body
1時間です。
one hour. Put his body into hot water, 45-degree water. I guess Celsius.
Wow.
毎日やってた。
There's quite a lot of different ways of losing the weight.
Yeah, なんかいろんなウェイト落とし方。
Recently there was a very popular Netflix series called Sanctuary about sumo. Did you see?
サンクチュアリー。見ました。
You watched it?
見ました。
What did you think? Is
ど
it
う
real?
思った本物か嘘
本物です、本物です。
Well, that's real. He says, all
大
real.
体本当ですね。ただ、現実の方がもっときついですね。
He said that everything was real, but it's actually a lot harder than it looked.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it looked hard, so...
もうめっちゃ大変だったみたいけど、もっと大変だ。
そうですね。あれは、映画用でちょっと緩いな。
So he feels like for the movie, they made it a little bit more light, the training.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? Whoa, okay. It's interesting. How did you first meet Enson?
どうやってエンソンと出会った？
小西さんの紹介ですね。
小西Salabout introduced us.
Yeah. And what do you remember from your first meeting with Enson?
エンソンと出会った時の印象。
あれですね、東岩槻駅に迎えに来てくれた時です。
そうね。
最初はそう。俺もその遠征さんのどういう人かを話さないと分からなかったっていうのと、最初はもちろん一番最初は怖かったですね。
He said he never heard who I was or anything, but the first image he had was kind of scared.
Oh, really? And
俺の最初の印象のでけえな。My first impression of him was, oh, this guy's fucking huge. 大きいな。
how did you guys meet? Like, where was it?
Was at this Watsuki train station. I was supposed to go to a barbecue.
Yeah.
And so Konishi was going to introduce us there. But I forgot about the barbecue. And when I realized that was the day, it was like 1 hour before it closed. They finished it, and I was like about 2 hours away. So we didn't meet there. So we met where we talked on the phone, and he came out to Iwatsuki to train to the house. So that's the first picking up at the train station.
And then training.
The first 7 minutes, and then training. Yeah.
Wow. What did you think after the first training session?
最初のトレーニング、少しトレーニングしてどういう感じだった？
俺は分かりやすかったですね。
He said it was real easy to learn the instruction.
Did you feel like immediately it was something that you wanted to do?
それでやったら、まあやっぱこれやりたいと思った。
そうですね。
Yeah. You right away he wanted to do dog fighting.
And what do you think the hardest thing was transitioning from sumo style to an MMA style?
相撲のやっぱり厳しさとかやり方に格闘技に回転するの何が一番難しい？
相撲から格闘技に対して
そう
転向する
格闘技やるの相撲より何がすごい難しかった？
まずスタンスが違うですね。
he said that the stance was totally different.
っていうのと、まず体重を落とすのとそのスタンスの違い。お相撲さんは前を向かないといけないですけど、格闘技は前向いたらダメじゃないですか。
So sumo, you gotta be straight up to the guy. But in fighting, there's too much of a big plane to hit. So you usually stand sideways in fighting. So that whole step, that's why he was super hard because he still have a habit of facing the front.
Yeah, that makes sense. There had been quite a few attempts before from sumo wrestlers coming over to Pride and fighting. Were you aware of that? That maybe sumo hadn't been the most successful background?
いろんな相撲取りちょっとやってみてじゃん、格闘技。みんなダメだったね。それが分かってた。前相撲がやってた。
もちろんもちろん。
いや、いいよまで。
だからデビュー戦はめちゃくちゃプレッシャーあったですね。
So he said he had a lot of pressure on his first fight.
Wow.
ね。
Did he feel like he was representing sumo?
いや、相撲の看板で出てた感じした最初。
そうです。
Yeah, when the beginning yesterday, he felt like he's representing sumo.
Does he still feel that way?
今もそういう感じしてる。
今は全くない。
You feel like own fighter now?
自分で格闘技で。
Yeah. I think so. It feels that way.
Yeah, そういう感じも自然になったね。
Sumo feels like quite a long time ago now, and now more established.
その世界 was a real gradual transition.
Yes.
From being a sumo fighting 格闘技 to sumo じゃないで。It's like a fighter. I think the last fight especially, Roque fight.
Yeah.
That one was like total MMA. Roque の試合がすごいみんな多分分かってきたね。いや、もう MMA ファイターだね。
The funny thing is, I think that for Western fans, it's quite a good marketing thing because I feel like people want to see like a big sumo wrestler, like how do they fare in MMA.
Yeah.
So it's kind of still like that. I don't know how you.
なんか彼が言ってるの、アメリカの方がそういうなんか PR とか試合売れるね、なんかスモのやつがこっち来てるとかみたいな感じで。
Was he aware that the first ever UFC fight was a sumo versus?
そうだ。第一 UFC、一番最初の試合が元相撲やってた人。
そうですか。
ハワイの人。
ハワイの人。
でもそんな多分重量とか言ってない。ただ相撲頑張ってみた。
It did not go well.
でももう歯も蹴られて、ゴルドーに顔蹴られて、歯も飛んじゃって。
So I wanted to talk about some recent fights.
最近の試合の話して。
I had the pleasure of seeing you fight live for New Year's Eve. What happened with the Tafa fight? What is his impression of the Tafa fight?
タファの試合に見てた。で、今の気持ちはどういう感じ？印象として。
自分がタファ戦
として
はもう試合だけ見ると本当に弱いなしか思わないですけど、あとは練習ですね。そのタファ戦までのその練習の過程がやっぱちょっと顎上がっちゃってたなっていう、それはもうだから試合だけっていう、僕がその僕のあれなんで、自分が一番わかるじゃないですか。その練習もやっぱダメだったし、ちょっと集中ができてなかったですね、その試合に対して。
So he's saying if you look at the Tafa fight, he really looks like a weak fighter. And he said he thinks the biggest problem with that was he got too conceited. So he said he thought he was too good.
Oh, okay.
So when looking back, because he thought too highly of himself, he felt like his training wasn't proper. So what he wanted to do in training wasn't the proper thing for the fight, which is true.
So does he think he underestimated how good the striker was?
タファの多分立ち技のうまさがちょっと計算間違った。
そうですね、なんか大丈夫しか思わなかったですね。
He said, yeah, definitely that. He said, but what was real weird is he felt like that he'll be okay. Yeah, so he was so confident in himself, he thought he'll be okay no matter what.
I think he should know that Tafa is a very good fighter, and it was destined kind of to go to UFC regardless.
彼がもう海外の評判多分めっちゃ強いし、必ず UFC 行くやつでみんな分かってたから。
He lost his UFC debut, but he looked still good in the debut.
UFC デビュー負けたけど全然ボロ負けとかそういうなんか弱い感じしてない。 印象として。
I think both will do well.
Yeah.
What did you learn from the Tafa fight?
タファの試合に対しての勉強、どういう勉強があった？
そのパンチの出るパターンを見てて、だからその何パターンかしかそんなになかったんで、いっぱいそのパターンがなかったから、でしかもそんなパンチもめっちゃ速い、見た感じが速い感じしなかったから、そんな正直あんま問題ないなと思ってたんですよ。あと顎に自分が自信持ちすぎてガードが下がって、
そうね。
多分ロッキーの時ももう顎に自信持つのやめてちゃんとガードを意識する。それが一番大きかったかもしれないです。自信持ちすぎたんですね、顎に。
So he said that one, he said he didn't realize the speed of Tafa's punches. When he saw the videos of Tafa, he saw the videos and it doesn't look that fast, so he'll be okay. And he said he also, one of the problems, he had too much confidence in his chin. He thought he had a good chin. So instead of depending on his strength of his chin in the Roque fight, he could make sure he kept his guard up the whole time. So he could.
So the fight was good for his defense.
Yeah.
After that performance, did you change your training going into the Roque fight?
タファ戦から変わってトレーニング変わった。
まずエリが妊娠してたともあって去年アメリカ1回しか行けなかったんですけど、その今年はそのロッキーの前アメリカ行ったじゃないですか。であとは今までテイクダウン試合の中でやってなかったっていうのもあったんですけど、それをやろうとしたところを変えたりして。
そうね。So what he did was he did go to America like he usually does to train, and it was a real big change in the training was we worked a lot of takedowns. He's never really worked takedowns.
Interesting. And then going on to the Roque fight, at the end of the first round, you celebrate. Was that because you felt so good after the first round and coming off the loss at Tafa?
彼が見てたのはロッキーの1ラウンド終わったらこうやってた。どういう気持ちだった？こうなんかちょっと手上がった。
僕がですか？あれなんていうどういう気持ちで多分みんな俺が負けると思ってたんですよ。1ラウンドから俺が勝ってたから見たかって感じですね。いいですお客さんに対して。
So he said that everyone that was doing like tests on the fight like that, like I mean not tests, but they're making comments on what they think was going to happen.
Yeah.
Everyone thought he was going to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 分かったらみんなRoque勝つと思ってた。
Yeah.
Yeah. So he said that what it was pretty much he felt the fans felt that way too. So after that first song, the way he just kind of controlled Roque, he almost felt like to the fans like, see, look at him, I can win.
That's good. Did you have doubts going into the fight?
試合の時そういうちょっと心配とか
ないです。
あった。No, he didn't really have that.
ガードだけも気をつけてれば大丈夫。
So he was Rocky's punches are fast and hard.
Yeah.
So he was concentrating on making sure his guard is always up.
Wow. So he was confident from his training.
Yeah. So 自信あったよね。Yeah, he had confidence.
Big win with Roque.
いい試合、いい勝ちだったね。
A lot of international fans are curious about what's next and who's next.
そういろんな海外のファンが今からどういう感じに試合すると相手がしてるかどうか。
次の相手。
次のそう。
まだ。
So he doesn't know the opponent.
So we don't know the opponent yet. Is
相
there
手はまだですね。
a date?
日にちは
9月ですね。
September.
September. Okay. Wow. But we don't know the opponent.
The opponent, 相手わかんない。No opponent yet.
Okay.
Probably gonna be a foreigner though.
Probably a foreigner. Okay.
絶対外人よね。
日本人じゃない。外国人にこれからやる。
So I feel like his next fights like that,
Yeah.
he's done with Japanese.
Yeah.
日本人も終わりにしたいね。
Yeah.
We go on to foreigners now.
I think it's quite clear he's Japan's top heavyweight.
彼らの意見として日本のヘビーは一番トップ。I think so too.
Would you like RIZIN to have like a heavyweight championship?
RIZIN のヘビー級チャンピオンシップトーナメントやってほしい。
トーナメントいらないですね。
He doesn't want a tournament, he said.
But would you like them to have a belt?
ベルトが作ってほしい。
そうですね。それはもう多分 まあ次勝ったぐらいに言おうかな。
So you're saying if he can win the next one, he wants to try to appeal to RIZIN for that.
For a belt. Is that a goal of his to become a champion?
それは自分の目的、RIZIN チャンピオンになる。
まあやっぱそのフェザー級とかバンタム級、フライ級とかベルトがあるじゃないですか。だから盛り上がるんですけど、まあヘビー級まだ今までベルトがなかったから、やっぱそれがあると一つの目標にみんななるじゃないですか。そしたら強い外国人とかもいっぱい来るから、そうなったらそっちが盛り上がるから、そういう盛り上げる意味でベルトがあった。僕はあんまりこだわりないです。
So he said, yeah, he's not really that worried about a belt, but he said that there's already like a light cube, bantamweight, middleweight belt, yeah. And he said all the fans are looking. Of course, we all know that heavyweight is the most exciting division. So all the fans are looking forward to that. So he knows that if we can create a heavyweight belt and have a heavyweight champion, it's going to create a lot of excitement in the fans.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So 絶対そう思ってる。ヘビー級ベルトがあればみんなワクワク楽しみます。
One topic that always kind of comes up is your brother. What's the situation with your brother?
みんなよくもう一人の兄弟がいる話して、兄弟にの付き合いに対しての感覚と例えばどういう気持ちとして
なんとも思ってないですね。人間性が合わない。
He said he's just a real different person from him. So they're just not relating with each other.
He's your twin, right?
The twin,
そうです。ただもうこの話とかしないと自分がもう双子兄弟いるともう頭から消えてますね。
Oh, he's pretty much just forgot like he's had a brother.
Someone have a twin brother as well.
彼も兄弟双子ある。
I didn't know that. Maybe you told me.
I think I told you. Did you fall out, or was there like a falling out, or?
なんかあったで別れたか悪くなった。
まあもともと仲は良くなかったです。
He said they weren't really close from the beginning.
でまあそうです。彼が格闘技やるっていうのはまあ僕は嫌だったので同じ世界にいるのは。だからまあこう言えない話もあるんですけど、それでこういろいろあって。
だってやらないって言ってたよな。
最初本人はやらないです。
So he said, there was a big thing about twins and sumo and shit. So when he went to fighting, it was like his thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And then when the brother got in trouble with sumo, had to leave sumo, the brother said he doesn't want to be fighting.
Yeah.
So he said, okay, good, because that's his road. He doesn't want that coming in that fucking twin shit again.
Yeah. I can understand because sometimes when you're a twin, you kind of want to show like this is who you are, but when you're twins, you kind of get.
なんか自分の経験として双子がいるとなんか同じことやるんですよ。双子が
そうです。お相撲さん時代それがそうだったんで。
嫌だった。だから彼がやりたいのはもう本当別行動すると自分として人間なんで。ツインのなんか話。
それ嫌だった。
Yeah, he hates that.
Within the same stable. Same stable.
Same stable. 同じペアね。
はい。
Oh, that's hard. That's hard. Yeah. Hopefully, when you're older, you both find who you are, maybe reconcile.
まあ将来としてみんなは大人にもとなってて仲良くなる感じがいいなと思って。
まあ彼が大人にならないと難しいですね。
He feels like if his brother doesn't get more mature, he's gonna have a hard time.
One of the most interesting topics in MMA right now is Fancis Ngannou, who you train with before when you were in Vegas. Fancis is now signed to the PFL. They say that anyone that fights Fancis will be paid $2 million. Does that fight ever appeal to you?
Fancis にもうトレーニングパートナーだし、今 PFL の契約して契約も相手が2億円以上のファイトマネーあるから、やる気ある、やる気持ち、やりたい気持ちある、フランシスと。
チャンスがあるならやりたいなと思う。
He said if there's a chance for that, he would love to.
Tell him I think there's a good story because a long time ago, someone called Enson fought the lineal UFC heavyweight champion called Randy Couture, who had left the UFC as a champion. So it will be very funny if Francis's first MMA fight as the lineal UFC heavyweight champion.
面白い話。俺のこともランディ・コットに勝った時、彼も全く同じ問題だった。UFC チャンピオンになって、UFC と問題になって契約。で、彼が離れて、まだ UFC チャンピオンのままに離れて、日本に来て試合した。で、俺がやっちゃったんです。で、フランシス、今同じ状態。UFC チャンピオンから問題になって離れて、まだ UFC チャンピオンのままで試合したら同じことだ。Oh, that's interesting. I never thought of that.
Well, Francis is boxing for next year, so maybe next 2020.
来年かもしれない。フランシスボクシングまずしてるし。
What would he like to get out of MMA? What would he like to get out of his MMA career overall?
MMA やるの一番一番目的は何？例えばお金とか男として強くなるとか。
まあでも小さい頃からお金に困ってきたので、もちろん一番はお金ではありますけど、ただ正直強く人としても男としても強くなればこの世界お金がついてくるじゃないですか。だから今同じぐらいです。大事なのはもう俺あんまり今最初の方はお金が一番だったんですけど、まあもちろんそれを稼ぎたいっていうのは変わらないんですけど、ただ今は人として男としても強くなりたい、選手として強くなりたいっていうのも同じぐらいなんですよ。
そうね。まあついてくるからね。So he said that of course his first idea to fight was for money. And of course money will always be something important to him. But he also now his big objective now is to become a stronger person. But he said he knows that that's probably the most important thing now. But he also knows that becoming a stronger person, the money will come too. So it's kind of like two in one, two birds in one stone.
Grow. What's the biggest thing you've learned having Enson as a coach?
Enson コーチとして一番勉強になったこと。
いやそれはでもいろいろありますね。
He said there's a lot.
あとまず一番メンタルですね。格闘技に対する気持ちとか。
He said for as far as fighting wise, the mental.
Really good. He helps you get over the boundaries.
なんかそういうなんか乗り越えること。
はい、そうですね。
Yeah, push him over the limits.
Yeah, because it seems like natural athlete, and then with your coaching of mentality, it really like works well together.
なんかいいコンビと思ってる。運動神経がすごくて、このメンタルが強くて、ボンって合わせるのめっちゃすごい。
Would you ever like to fight? Is fighting in the UFC something that you'd like to experience?
UFC に試合したい気持ちある。
あります。
Yeah, he does.
Who is there anyone that he would like to test his skills against?
例えば今 UFC 見ると誰かちょっとやっぱり戦いたい気持ちある。
トップランカーですか？
そう。
ランカーデリック・ルイスは正直。
デリック・ルイスですね。面白そうだね。
ないと思います。
He said he feels he could do his style would match really good with Derek Lewis. 面白そうですよ。めっちゃいい名前もからね。そうスタイルとして楽しそうし感じる。Yeah, I think he can beat Derek Lewis too. The styles.
Saki Kobara is gonna have to bring in some more heavyweights to keep him, right?
Yeah. サキバでちゃんとヘビー級のいい選手集まらないと。
あれ本当やりたかったですね。なんとかハーディー
アメハーディー。
アメフトから来て追馬さん。
Greg Hardy. You wanted to fight Greg Hardy.
Greg Hardy's.
Is he still on the UFC?
He got knocked. No. He's gone very down.
でベアナックルでもダメです。
ベアナックルもダメだ。
He's been knocked out like 2 or 3 times.
もうダメだから。
I think your brother, Greg Hardy.
Your brother, Greg Hardy.
You're high enough.
What
does he want to be remembered for?
試合全部格闘技終わったらファンがTsuyoshiの名前聞くとどういう評判が欲しい？
特にあんまりなもん。
いや、みんな。
だから自分が強くなれたかどうかなんですね。
He just worried, like he wants to see how strong he can get in fighting.
How long does he think he'll fight for?
自分今のうち何年ぐらい試合するつもり？
40歳までやりたいですね。
until he's 40.
Oh, 40 years ago. Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, that's a lot of time.
その後 WWE とか出たいです。
一
回だけボクシングマッチやる。
He also during that time wants to fight at least one boxing match.
Okay.
And he also wants to try pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling. Oh, okay.
これ面白いよ。
新日本。
難しいんだ。
New Japan.
WWE.
WWE.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's cool about that? The better he does in fighting,
Yeah.
the easier it's gonna be.
Easier to.
だって試合の数になってるから、もう格闘技チャンピオンとかになったらそこ行きやすい。
そうですね。
Does he think he'd be okay, like taking bumps?
その受け身とか自分自信ある。
多分やれば絶対できる。
で多分大丈夫。
I suppose he's had hard sumo training, hard MMA training, so hard pro wrestling training would be.
まあスモハード、MMAハード、プロレス大丈夫。
Okay.
運動神経あれば受け身やりやすい。
That's really interesting. I never would have expected pro wrestling
Yeah, me
to
too.
be like
面白い
an
ね。
avenue for him.
いやでもそれもやってお金になる。
はい。
It makes sense, but it just surprised.
プロレスのあるマニですわね。
Ah, yeah. True.
年間3億稼げるらしいです。WWE。もうあんまりその稼いでない人でも。
すごい。日本のプロレスのとこにお金ない。
そうです。
Is there anything that you'd like maybe international fans to know about you that maybe they don't?
インターナショナル海外のファンがTsuyoshiが伝えたいことある。
そうですね。日本人のヘビー級、なんつったらいいの？難しいなんだろう。伝えたいこと。まあ、そうですね。僕をその日本人じゃないですか、僕。だからその今までの日本人ヘビー級の人たちと比べてみてほしいですね。
So as a heavyweight, Japanese heavyweight, he wants to see what type of comparison he can have with the other Japanese heavyweights. 今ヘビー級の中日本人一番すごいんじゃない？他誰が言った？わかんないです。
あんま思い浮かばないです。
全然ダメだと思うよね。
そうですね。
一番伸びてない。I think out of all the heavyweights that came out of Japan, he's done the best. まあ清水愛うまくいったけど全然名前がもう止めてる状態。清水愛 is good, but he still has a like a role, kind of like that. 清水愛こう。
Yeah, he had lost the job.
そしてこうでちょっとこうでそういい感じした。
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
どうするの？
And thank you everybody for watching. Please keep supporting Tsuyoshi. Please like, please subscribe. Any other final messages?
Last day in Thailand, so.
Last day in Thailand.
Alright everyone, hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. See you soon.